everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Z Garcia.
And we're glad Z's here because Z's about to show us how to play Evergreen. Evergreen is a game about... What is it about? You're like populating a planet with trees, I think.
Yeah.
It's about
Growing
trees,
forest.
Tom. Did you not get that?
No, I got that, but I'm not actually sure what you're doing. Hang on.
You are growing trees
You're
and
building a
letting the
forest.
sunshine
You're building
shine.
a lush ecosystem.
To make your
Yeah.
planet become as lush as possible.
Ooh, a lush
You
ecosystem.
have your own planet, okay? You're some sort of guardian of the
so
galaxy.
Powerful.
Now, I guess to be fair, it's not just trees. There's bushes and water. So, I mean, it would be foolish to assume this was a game about trees.
All right. Well, like I said, Z's going to show us how to play it.
It's about trees.
Here he is.
To set up the game, we're going to give each player one of these planet boards. So everyone's going to have one of these. These are the extras here. They're all the same. And everyone is going to put these pawns in all the starting places for all their various tracks, including their victory points around the planet here. We will put the sun token here at the top, and then we shuffle up the deck of cards and reveal a certain number, and we put them here in the fertility zone. These are going to give us bonuses based on the symbols at the top of the cards at the end of the game. At the end of the game, for every fully grown tree, which is going to look like this little guy right here, you're going to get a number of points for every fully grown tree based on the values on these cards in that region. So right now, 3 victory points in this region right here because of that card. And then we are ready to begin. Someone has the start player token. We are good to go. We're going to be playing over 4 rounds, which are tracked right here. And during each of those rounds, we are going to be drafting a certain number of cards that decreases each time. So we draft 5 cards in the first round, 4, 3, and 2 in the last one. And we are going to be utilizing those cards to develop our planets here. So we shuffle these up, and we reveal a number equal to the player's +1. So I'll go ahead and reveal... let's say we're playing a 3-player game. So I'll reveal 4 of these, and I'm going to put them like so, just for the sake of space on the camera here. All right. So they look like that. We'll put the deck over there. Starting from the start player, I'm going to draft one of these cards, and then once I've done that, I will leave this on the one closest to the deck. So if I take this one, for example, I'll put this right here. Whoever drafts that card will be the start player for the next round. If I take this one, well, it goes on the one closest to the deck now, which is that one. Point is, I can't keep it. All right? And then once we've all taken a card, we're going to utilize that card to do things on our planet. Also, the one left over is going to move over to this fertility zone, and you'll notice some of the cards have at the top this symbol here, which is going to eliminate a card from the fertility zone, the last one played. So if the one that isn't drafted by one of the 3 players ends up being this one, this is going to move over here. It is going to cancel this card, the last one, flipping that face down and tucking it under, making that area at the end of the game worth less. All right? So let's take a look at how this works. Let's say on my turn, I intend to draft this card right here. I will take it. I will leave that there. The rest of the players will draft. Second player will take that. Third player will take that. All right, and we're not going to worry about what they're doing. We're just going to focus on our own board here. This goes here, and then we will take the actions on our card. There are 2 things to concern ourselves with. The first one is the background on the card denotes the land type we'll be able to take an action in. And then the second is the symbol down here in the corner of the card. You can do these things in either order you want to. The symbols at the bottom have to do with all these short tracks around the top of our board here. So let's worry about the main action first, the color of the card. You can do one of 4 things, and they're all listed right here. So the first one, action A, is I can put 3 of these little guys to begin trees. Okay? So I can do them anywhere I want to, but they have to be in that region. So I can put one here, I can put one here, and I can put one, whatever, here. Okay? So that's the first action, action A. Action B lets me grow trees. They can grow from these little guys to the medium-sized trees, small trees they call them, and then, or from the small trees, if they're already out there, to the big trees. So the sequence is this then. They can go from this to this or from this to this, though you cannot affect the same one in the same turn. So I could not, for example, if this already had looked like this at the beginning of my action here, I cannot choose action B and grow this to a medium tree or a small tree, and then directly with the other uptick to a big one. You can only affect one of them and grow it up once, all right? C, option C, is one of each. One of these little guys, and then a growth, not on the one you just placed. And then action D lets you do a single thing, either place a new one or grow one, but this world symbol means you can do it anywhere. That lets you ignore the background on the card and affect any region on the map, all right? So we'll go back to the example, which is likely to be the first thing I do in the game. I'll do that. So I've done already the action for the card. Now I can concern myself with the action in the corner, though again, you can do them in either order. So all of these different things are going to be these symbols. This one here happens to be that one there, and it's also just about the simplest one. I am going to always, when I do one of these, advance the token if possible, and then do an action based on the number below it now. In this case, it's a 1, and that symbol there just means gain a point. If I do that again later on, I take another card that has that symbol, I will advance it again, and then take 2 points. If it's already at the end, you simply skip advancing because you can't, but you still would do whatever the action is, all right? So that's what I'm doing. The other ones are as follows. This one lets you put one of these little starting trees anywhere in the world. You're going to put 2 out, or 3 or 4. This one is a growth anywhere in the world, 1 or 2 or 3. It grows to a small tree, from this kind to a small tree, growing into a large tree, 1, 1 or 2 anywhere in the world. I've explained that. This one and this one let you put out 2 new features that you haven't seen yet. The little brushes there, the bush, and then water. This little water feature, all right? So this one, you can put out 1, 1, or 2 based on where it is. When you put this out, it's going to connect a group of trees, and that's all it's going to do. So let's go ahead and change out some of my pieces here so I can illustrate this. Let's say my lands look like this. I could put this out to grow my biggest group of trees from a 2, because the little ones don't count. If I put this here, now this counts as a group of 4, because he counts as part of that group and connects them, all right? And then the water lets me, when I put that out, I will be able to grow trees around wherever the water is one time. So from the beginning to a small tree, or from a small tree to a large tree, and the amount of growth I can do is 1, 1, or 2. So the first time I do it, I can put my water there, and I can grow this little fella here into this little fella right here. I would just swap those 2 out. And that's what water does, okay? So there you go again. These things do keep moving up and giving you bigger bonuses. After you're done drafting a card using the 2 actions, you will keep that card. We'll put out 5 new ones or 4 new ones, depends on the number of players. So for a 3-player game, 4 new ones. And we will continue doing this until we've drafted 5. Then we score, okay? Scoring is as follows. Wherever the sun is shining from, in this case from the top down, every tree it can shine on is going to give you a number of victory points. And they will be worth 1 for these smaller trees, 2 for the bigger trees, as long as they're not blocked. All right, the small tree blocks the space behind it. So in this case, this tree would give you 1 point, but it blocks this one, so that one's worth nothing. And the big tree gives you 2 points, but it blocks the 2 spaces behind it. So in this case, that would be fine. That gets you 2, blocked, blocked, and then this one scores. If it's like so, it would be 2 points, blocked, blocked. All right? So this one won't score. Be aware that the small one does not block the big one. 1 point, 2 points, blocked, blocked. So you score everything this way, and then you also score your biggest group, which in this case might be this group of 5. I'm going to get victory points over here on this tracker for all of that. And then once that's done, we'll take all 5 cards that were here. We will discard those, and the sun is going to move over here, and we're going to be scoring this way for the next round, in which we draft 4 cards. And then this round, we draft 3 cards. Over here, we draft 2 cards. And then the game is over, and we score this fertility area for every fully grown tree. So right now, this is a fully grown tree right here in this area. As of right now, if the game ended right now, that would be worth 2 victory points to me. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game, they're going to be the winner.
Now, whenever this game was mentioned, and I talked to various people about it, like Jen kind of was there, and people said, oh, is that like photosynthesis? It's not fair necessarily to compare games with trees, but this is the same designer as photosynthesis.
Okay.
It's a different company. Photosynthesis was Blue Orange, and this is Horrible Games.
Horrible Guild.
Horrible Guild.
They used to be that, and it's hard to adjust. Used to be Horrible Games.
Maybe they
not
just call
Horrible.
themselves a pretty good game.
The All Right Game Company, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, the similarities exist in sun shines, trees block the light, and that's it. There's no other.
There's some inspiration there, though. It's hard to not make that comparison.
I made that comparison without knowing this was the designer of the game, because you want to orient your trees in such a way that because the trees, as they collect sunlight, is kind of your engine build of the game, so to speak.
Right.
So and it rotates around each round. So I thought, oh, this had a lot of similar tastes, a lot of similar notes as photosynthesis. I saw Hjalmar Hawk as the designer. That, oh, got it. This makes sense now.
Right.
That being said, one of the things that people complain about in photosynthesis often is the meanness of it. It is a straight up very mean game because I am blocking your tree with mine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In this, you have your own planet. If you block trees, that's on you.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the game has I think, a pretty fun drafting mechanism. Where you're drafting cards from the middle, and the card that's left goes over. That sort of thing is always interesting to me, that how turn order changes. I think that concept works well, and it is the #1 interaction in the game.
Yeah.
Other than that, you are kind of building your own thing and doing your own actions. What did you all think of that? Does it feel solitaire-ish?
I thought you went back to the well, so to speak, frequently enough for that split that I did not feel like I was fully ignoring everyone else. Now, I am ignoring what you're doing on your planets. That I didn't care, about. I wasn't looking at anybody being like, oh, I mean, I did for the sake of this because it looks cool. But I wasn't checking what people were doing. But I think you are doing a split frequently enough where after I do my couple of things, I'm like, okay, ooh, don't take the card I want. You get back into that.
Well, and also, if you're picking the second last card, you sometimes will think, which card am I sending over there? Oh, Chris has 5 trees in the green section. It's not getting better.
That's exactly the point I was going to make, because I think the scoring mechanism is probably my favorite part, and with that open draft there where you're drafting for what you want, but also what you're wanting or not wanting to go up into to build the scoring. And so I really liked that aspect of it, and I thought that was really interesting and brings a lot of versatility to the game. That is the one time that I would look at other people's. I would say it's more so solitaire outside of, oh, hold on, we have a lot of scoring happening in the orange sector, and oh, you know what, I want that to go up there because Chris has no trees there. Great, I'll take this card then. That works well for me as well. Outside of that, not really. I think the game is flexible enough that I can work. There's cards I want more than other cards, but at the end of the day, I can make any of those cards kind of work. Because there's enough flexibility in the game that the draft is like, oh, I hope they don't take that card, but if not, I'll do this instead because I don't want that to go there.
And I like that. If you are the first player, you have the least say in what's going to become added to that scoring pile.
Right.
And so, in one of the games, I was always first or basically second. And so I just kind of said, okay, well, the scoring pile is going to be what it is, I guess, right? But when you are later in the rotation, you do have a little bit more of that control, especially because there are those cards that eliminate the last face-up scoring card, so you can really kind of swing that, but it doesn't feel mean ever. And so I think that, you are, for the most part, in your own little world, because that's where you want to be, playing with trees, growing them. And I like that part a lot. And like you said, you come back to the well enough. I care enough about that draft that it doesn't feel like, why am I even playing this with other people?
Now, to that end,
Yeah.
I think it has the one small negative I have about the game is I do care kind of what you're doing. Like as he said, I'm looking at everyone else's board, but I am completely accepting your scoring. And this happens when there's always everyone's playing boards. He's like, I got 30 points. Camilla's like, I got 162. I'm like, I guess you did.
Right.
I'm not going to probably recount the scores, but I don't know. And sometimes at the end of the game, like, oh, you won. And I didn't feel any. As the game went by, I'm not sitting there going, oh man, me and Chris are neck to neck.
Yeah.
I have no concept of that.
And I don't think that there is any way you could, because there's so many. You can score and strategize so differently. You know, do you try to optimize every sunshine scoring, or do you really put a lot into those last two sectors as you build up your trees and your forest? You know, so I
Big
really
groups,
think
you can do big groups. You can worry about
Right.
that fertility area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's so many different ways to get big points, or so many different strategies, I guess, to get big points. That it does lose some of that tension of like, oh man, keep an eye on Chris, or keep it, or oh man, I'm really running here. I've got this in the bag. I can already tell. There's really no way to know without completely bogging the game down.
I think on the flip side of that, which is something you sort of alluded to, the game is obscured enough from you who's doing well, who's doing badly, that you do miss that tension of trying to catch up or whatever. But on the flip side of that, if somebody takes the card you were eyeing in the draft, the next one's pretty good too.
Yeah.
You have a decent
You know what I
amount
mean?
of freedom. Like,
It's
I
that
never
idea,
took a card and go,
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
Right. It's like
Right,
if somebody takes something you were looking at, you're like, oh, okay, well, this is pretty good. Like, they
Right.
all feel pretty good.
Right. I never felt a wasted turn.
Right.
It's like, well, I guess I'll just hope something better comes out. I was never backed in a corner. There's
One
always something you
caveat.
can do. Whoa.
Oh, sorry. One caveat. Taking a big tree growth card on turn 1.
Oh, okay, right.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not useful, and I almost think that they should have said shuffle those back in the deck,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that is the one time you cannot use that action.
Right.
You can't, but it does, in compensation, bump you forward on that little marker. It doesn't
you're right.
give you something
so it
right
almost
now
banks that action in a way that
because
it's
you'll
true.
get
That's
to
a good point.
you'll get to the double growth part of that track sooner. Those
It's not
tracks are-
horrible. I
It's a
guess.
really corner case. I mean,
Yeah.
and it could happen. It's not that it's rare. It's just, a small thing. But yeah, that's an easy house rule. Maybe I think it's not worth the extra rule.
That's
What do
a
you
good point.
think? What's your rating?
My rating, I'm going to come in at a 6.5. This game is do what?
Almost.
I almost went with a 6. It was one of those, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt of playing in the right situation with somebody that can take care of their own scoring and deal with their own board, specifically
Yeah.
that that
I'm
you just
really
can kind
I'm
of
good at math.
that you can turn that over to. But I really had a hard time. I don't know why this one just did not click with me. The rules, the being able to take the top or the bottom action, and the top. I'm sorry, I don't even remember now. It was the bottom one
color
that
and the
associates to
corner,
the here, and it was just like a lot of. I love the freedom of it and the idea of it, but because there is so much of that freedom, it was just really hard for me to grasp. This one just did not click. And so I think in the right situation, with the right person, in the right little quiet room where I can take as much time as I want, all these, the perfect situation, I would probably cap out at a 6.5. So I'm rating it based on the best case scenario for me. I would play it, it'd be fine, I wouldn't hate it, but it's definitely not one that I'm going to run to play, and I think the times that I would not enjoy the plays are going to be much bigger. If it's not quiet, if it's at some sort of convention or with
Right.
somebody who's loosey-goosey. I know I'm also the only one that had this problem, but I found it so fiddly. Like I would bump my board and trees would fall over, and I'd go to put it back and another one would fall over. So I'd put that one back and I'm like, oh crap, where'd it fall over? In this hole or this hole? Like I really struggled with that. And I know I'm the only one, so I have fat fingers, I guess, and I'm just, here to accept that.
You are not the only one,
So-
actually.
Oh really? No,
Yeah,
you too.
no,
Okay.
I knock my trees over a lot. And you're not the only one to not grasp that concept. I taught this game to a lot of people, and many of them had that same
Are you saying
concept.
I'm not stupid?
No, but I'm saying you're all wrong.
Oh,
You're not exceptionally stupid. Is
oh
what he's saying.
fantastic.
I should mention a quick side note. I really like the
Yes.
layered
Yes.
board. I hate their storage system other than that, but I'll fix that with containers. But because you can't put this box in the middle of the table and expect people to look over inside the
Right.
box. But I enjoyed the game. I'm giving it an 8. The draft is fun. I just feel freedom in this game. Oh, I got this territory and this action. Well, that territory has like 10 open spots. So I can pick the spots I'm doing stuff in or whatever. And then that action I can do anywhere. And okay, I'm thinking about where the sun's going to be. I'm thinking about a clump of trees. This game, I very rarely say this, I feel like it could also use a nice little expansion of objective cards.
No.
I don't normally want those in games, but I think this one will be like, if you get 5 points, whoever gets the most lakes. Some minor things I think that would make lakes and bushes feel more, I feel like they're secondary things. I know someone might be like, no, lakes are amazing. No, lakes are fine. But a few things like that, or maybe some other ways to score, I would put money down that that's going to happen. Anyway, but I would be glad for it. I don't normally look for expansions. Usually I'm like, the game's fine as is. But even then, without that, I really enjoyed it.
14 people just took your bet, Tom.
All right, what do you think?
I'm giving this a 7.5. I like it. I like it quite a bit. I'll make the comparison to photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is too mean for me. This has a lot of the same puzzling aspects that I enjoy from that game, and it gives it to me in my own little world. So I can. The biggest concern I have is, I guess, knocking over trees with my fat fingers.
You have that finger too?
I was okay. I was excellent at this game.
Use some tweezers.
He's gonna brag. Yeah, he's gonna brag.
Treesers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez.
All right, I just lowered everybody's score. No, it's fun. It's really enjoyable. I think there's a lot of smart decisions. I think what it lacks, maybe for me, is just a little bit of excitement, and that I agree with that feeling of at the end of the game, everyone says like, "I scored this many points. Oh, I scored less than that." Okay, but the whole game, the whole time I'm playing it, I really like what it does, and so I don't know. I'd definitely play it again, and
But
I would.
sometimes you want that serene experience.
Yeah, it doesn't quite nail serene, but it's good. I think it does that pretty well. So 7.5 for me.
I think you guys are making both good points. I definitely felt that way of like looking up and being like, did I win? Second? Okay. But that puzzle is incredibly satisfying, serene, thinky, just the right amount of troublesome. I don't know how else to put that, where it's not the amount of pressure it's putting on me. I'm very much enjoying. This is just a fun, creamy, enjoyable experience for me. It's gorgeous looking. Gameplay for me blows away photosynthesis. From a look standpoint and the gameplay standpoint, I loved it.
From a look standpoint? Okay.
I think this looks way better, way more elegant. I really like this look.
There are blue trees. In
The line work in this, and the mainly white sort of aesthetic, the whole thing I just think is very gorgeous. And gameplay was incredibly satisfying to me. So I'm giving this one a 9. I really loved it.
All right, well, there you go.
Yes.
Evergreen, a game about trees. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
And bushes. I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Z Garcia.
And lakes.
Growing.